Oh, what is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to, oh my God, welcome back to another episode, Mets'd podcast. I really wish we did it after game one, and then we're like, we'll catch you after game three. Can't do that, obviously. Very different vibe than what could have happened if things went perfectly right in game two. Of course, the series is now tied 1-1 between the Mets and the Phillies in the NLDS, going back to Citi Field on Tuesday night for those extortionately high ticket prices. Hope you guys saved money. You got to pay like $700 to get into the stadium. All right, we will talk about everything from Mendoza decisions to Mets pitcher decisions to at-bats. It's been a chaos series. You couldn't expect anything less. Thank you guys for sticking around with us. Make sure you follow us on all our social media at Mets'd on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the Mets'd podcast YouTube channel. See the video version of this. Again, James has got beautiful foliage behind him, still out in Ohio. If you want to see it, Mets'd podcast YouTube channel. And if you are just listening to us, like most of you, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, of course, and subscribe so you don't miss out. James, initial vibes. How are we feeling out in Ohio?
If you have feeling out in Ohio, pretty insane, pretty incensed. I just as background for why am I in Ohio during the most important Mets series of the year. So I told Mark this. I booked this trip to go back to Ohio State and go to a football game the Thursday after the night game where Edwin Díaz blew save the Corbin Carroll home run. So I was like, fuck it, Mets aren't going to the playoffs anyway. I don't care. And I booked this trip, and then in Ohio on Saturday, my friends and I, we skipped the football game we bought tickets to go to the bar and watch and not miss a pitch of the Mets game. And it was like the conversation of, if we go to a quarter of the football game, we're going to miss half of the baseball game. We don't want to miss half the baseball game. And then the second they announced Kodai Senga, I was like, I am 100% not stepping foot in that stadium. Like, you guys can go if you want, but I am not going to do that. But the vibes are okay. The vibes of this team is just, it was almost so sweet. If you could have gone to there, it was a real headshot, like a jugular. If you could have taken 2 games at the bank, the fabled bank. But I don't know. Like, I don't feel bad. I don't feel good the way the Mets lost the game, but I don't feel bad the way they played in Philly in general. The thing that makes me mad is how close it was to being legit slit the throat, kind of let the guts and blood spill out, kind of win on Sunday. But splitting these 2 games, 1-1 was the goal going in, and that's what you achieved going out. So I can't be pissed, but I'm disappointed a little bit because of how it happened.
Yeah, I think I texted you. I'm still super pumped for the rest of the series. I think there's a lot of people in the Mets world right now where the sky is falling, doom or die. Even when the Mets blew the runs initially late in the game, a lot of sky is falling, doom or die. Shout out to me, you and Clay, keeping God and believing. Mark Vientos with that huge home run in the end really was out of control. It's a shame we're going to forget about it probably in a couple years, but that does suck because again, it's like you don't remember the good stuff when the games that you lose, but at the same time, I don't know how you could be out on this team right now. That was a heartbreaking loss, but it was heartbreaking in the aspect of we had the lead, and then we came back again, and then we came back again. So it was heartbreaking because of the up and downs, the roller coasters. In retrospect, how many times have we thought the season was over? How many you thought the season was over when you bought those tickets to Ohio? Like, there's no way that I'm giving up on this team. I know you're not either. I'm not. I think I can speak for both of us when I say, like, this team has still got a very, very good chance to take this series. You got 2 games at home going up against Aaron Nola and the Phillies in game 3. I don't think they've announced game 4 just yet. The vibes are still good. They would have been immaculate. They would have been feral. You would have seen James spending more money than he was ready to be at that game on Tuesday night for sure. I would have spent an ungodly amount of money. I think my dad would. My dad was like, I'll try to go to one of these games. Like, it's just so much money on these tickets right now. Like, it's crazy. It would have been different on Tuesday. It would have been the kill shot. It would have been stomp on their throats, embarrass them on TV, all that kind of stuff. Instead, now you got to play a little baseball. This is arguably the best team in baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies. It was never going to be easy. Shame on us for thinking it could have been.
Yeah, we said we're going to war. We can't win war this easily. Like, this is a team full of dogs, of monsters, playoff pedigree.
It's not the Alamo.
They flashed the stat in the postgame report after the game, which I don't know if you guys hung around for the postgame show, but A-Rod, Jeter, and Poppy is comedy. It's cinema. Things they were talking about, the way it was just so funny. A-Rod looks like he's in blackface up there.
It's crazy.
With the fake tan he's rocking, but they show the stat, highest postseason OPS in history of baseball, minimum 150 plate appearances. It was Babe Ruth, it was Lou Gehrig, and it was Bryce Harper. Like, we're contending with like a true inner circle, first ballot, superstar, Hall of Fame kind of player. Who is that? And like, this team is amazing. When you go up against that top 3 of Schwarber, Turner, Harper, it's a dance with the devil every single time. And anytime you get through that without giving up runs of victory for your team, but you just feel as these games go on, those guys get stronger and stronger and more confident. And when it comes down to it, just something that Brzezinski and Wainwright were saying ad nauseum in this game, but like it comes down to Castellanos a lot, and the fact that you let him beat you twice is the problem. He even made a comment after the game. Now we start to get to nitty gritty stuff that he was. I forgot exactly what he said, but you said it to me, like something about blowing a fastball by you. Don't want to be out in a fastball being blown by you. But
yeah, no,
he was
basically like, I was going to let a fastball blow by me. I was sitting slider the entire time. All I was thinking was slider. If he blew a fastball by me, that's how I was going to go down. But I wasn't going down chasing a pitch in the dirt.
And then even if you go back in this game to a similar spot, the Phillies' first rally that started with Trey Turner hitting a 2-out single off of Luis Severino. The one I'm knocking Severino out. I'm on the wrong game log right here.
But that is correct.
That's it was Trey Turner. It was first pitch sweeper, second pitch sweeper, third sweeper, fourth sweeper, five sweepers. There's 5 straight sweepers against him. So I understand not wanting to get beat on your fastball and want to go at your pitcher. Severino's sweeper was amazing all game. That inning itself, I thought McGill's fastball was the best. So these are two different things, but it's the repetition against these guys. The more at bats, the more times they get up there, the more they see, the more that ballpark starts to get tight and feel packed and get loud. It's hard to get these guys over and over again. Going up 2-0 would have been immaculate, but it's so hard to do that against a team that's this fucking good.
It's also something to note about how Philadelphia plays at a 4:00 start, and even the Phillies players after game 1 were mentioning it, how the shadows and the glare and the batter's eye in center field, especially at those times, are really, really difficult to contend with. You saw Mets hitters going up with shades on during the first inning in game 2, even though they were completely in the shade. You saw the Phillies hitters struggle. The bats didn't come alive until basically
it went dark.
Until it went dark. And you kind of... It's funny because Wheeler was disgusting, obviously, in game 1. Filthy, disgusting, 30 swings and misses, whatever it was. He was untouchable.
One of the best games I've ever seen.
And I'm not trying to downgrade anything he did. Yeah, diminish, because he was phenomenal and he really shoved it at us. But it is so funny how as soon as he comes out of the game, as soon as you can actually see the ball a little bit better, the Mets started hitting. And you saw it in today's game with the Phillies. As soon as the shade started to go away, you started to see Severino's sweeper a little bit better. You started to see that fastball, that changeup a little bit better. It was frustrating, but that's the way it is. It was for both teams. That's not an excuse for either side. They both didn't hit during those times. Take it for what it is. What was annoying, though, is now the conversations that are being had after this game, because I think a lot of people are really missing the actual point of what went on in this game. I think there's a lot of conversation that is being misguided, misconstrued towards Carlos Mendoza and whatnot. I think there's a debatable moment, and I know what side you're on, James, but we'll fill in the people here, where Severino faced Bryce Harper and he gave up that 2-run home run, and it was Groundhog's Day again, 100%.
100%.
I think that's one of the points where you could be on either side, and I don't think either side is wrong. I personally thought stick with Severino. Bryce Harper can't beat you in this moment. Go get him. You've dominated him all game. The problem was that he threw a fastball literally right down the dick. I mean, it couldn't have been more down the middle for Bryce Harper to hit. And when you have one of the best postseason hitters ever, he's going to make you pay. He's so goddamn good. It's ridiculous. And PSA before I let James go here and talk, if anybody at Citi Field hears anyone chanting overrated to Bryce Harper, I implore you to scream and yell at them, embarrass them, because he is not overrated. It does not work. You saw the idiot from Barstool, not the big one, but the other one, the one who's actually the quite polar opposite. He is a stick figure. He was saying he's not scared of Bryce Harper within seconds of him finishing the word home run. I implore you to never doubt Bryce Harper. Don't ever doubt Bryce Harper. He's so damn good.
Shame on you for letting that type of content make it onto your timeline. We got to keep the For You pages trimmed.
No, that's a following. That's a following. I'm friends with some of those people, so I saw the retweet.
Pop Suey there. But I also want to say one quick thing about the shades and the shadow you were mentioning before. It's so weird that we start these games at a different time than we play basically any of the 162 baseball games. I know these last two were at 4 o'clock, and we'll get a smattering of 4 o'clock games. You guys know how much we love the 4 o'clock game as the season goes on.
Saturday.
As I'm saying, the fact that these next couple games are going to be 5 o'clock, that's going to add different elements, different angles for these shadows that we literally never, ever see for the 162 game sample. Now we're doing all different shit. So I think that is part of it. But
also, shame on MLB for making clearly the best series 4 o'clock. It's insane.
It's unbelievable. I mean, the National League playoffs is some of the best baseball that we've seen in the last decade. The AL playoffs is beer league softball.
Yes,
it's terrible. But that sixth inning with Severino, again, like I don't really fault Mendoza either way on that. But it's just the element of what happened last time is what stuck in my craw really badly. But then the other side of it is, who the fuck do you bring in? Is anyone that comes in out of the bullpen actually improve in the situation? But
because you can't bring Edwin in then. Because Edwin, they're guaranteed one more at bat. You can't bring Edwin in when they're guaranteed one more at bat. There's still a lot of game left. And the only other guy you'd probably feel comfortable is what? Danny Young. And Danny Young has been
Or Reed Garrett, I
awful.
don't know. Yeah.
And Reed
Budo
Garrett
was awful again. Budo's command was all over the place. He
Budo
has to
is
drop down. Yeah.
he's a maybe we can't really pitch right now kind of guy.
Yeah, I think I was even shocked he came into that big of a high leverage spot after what happened last time he pitched. But that inning spiraled out of control again on the 2-out single by Trey Turner, where we chatted the guy Lance Brazdowski, recurring guest of the Mets'd podcast. It's the pitch decay thing, where
it's too many
if you throw one of the best hitters in baseball and the best right-handed hitters in the league 5 straight of the exact same pitches in basically the exact same spot, and he's not missed at any of them. Now, whether you in that bat, he didn't have one swing and miss. He had two foul balls. He spit on one, and then he hit a single on one that stuck right there. And it was a single, all he needed. And then the Harper one, of course, it was a bad pitch. He didn't take advantage. But it was a 2-strike pitch, and he went with a fastball. He just put it in a horrible spot.
Yeah.
And people always say, if he executes there, and again, of course, if he executes there, if he throws a perfect pitch, but no pitcher's going to throw a perfect game like that unless you're going to throw a perfect fucking game. So it becomes down to thing when you're more likely to not execute. You're more likely to not execute in an intense at bat against one of the best hitters in the history of baseball in a spot where the rival crowd is freaking out. And that was also a moment where it was deathly quiet in Citizens Bank Park. The famous bank was dead. We had them. They were freaking out. They were booing their own players. Rob Thompson benched Alec Boehm because he didn't show enough energy, and then Alec Boehm chased a foul ball and jumped into the stands in the 8th inning, trying to show he had energy. But you had them dead to rights, and it was getting through that one spot. And that's just, again, why I keep harping on the same thing with Severino pitching that time. Because the third time around the order, you saw this happen literally exactly 1 month ago. The exact same situation, the exact same game was played, just without Cal Stevenson. So just Mendoza seeing that and thinking about the process. But again, also, I don't know who was coming in. Maybe that's the moment you burned Reed Garrett. But Reed Garrett did the pitch in this game. Neither Ryan Stanek, neither Phil Maton. Maton's also hasn't looked great either. So is there even a better person to get out this feared lefty than Severino, who did look really good? Then the problem was, it seemed
Where the fuck is Brooks Raley? God damn it.
Yeah. It did seem like then again the focus waned hard because then he hung his 2 straight sweepers into Castellanos. Yeah. The second one was parked. And then that's another thing to go back into the 9th inning with McGill, who again also I think a lot of people are piling on McGill right now. I thought
not his fault. Oh my God.
I thought more so than anything else, Tyler McGill showed me the rest of this series. And as long as we keep playing baseball, he should be a primary guy in the bullpen now. He should be someone who's officially in the trust tree because he came in throwing dots with the fastball. The splitter looked literally the best it's looked the entire season. But then again, you have this issue of sequencing. I don't know if it's pitch calling. I don't know if this is pitcher, dugout, Alvarez, where Castellanos murks the sweeper. And then that at bat, he has one fastball that he gets from Tyler McGill, 98 on his hands. He has a horrible swing against it. And then he throws 2 straight sliders after that again, finally hits the single on the one he hangs. So again, maybe it's just the way they're approaching it, but throwing those sweepers to Castellanos has not been working. He's a chase guy. He's not a guy who spits on a lot of those pitches, but seems like he's ready for what they're going to do to him and making them pay.
The problem is he didn't have to chase those. They were right down the dick of the plate. So yeah, I don't think the sweeper is necessarily the bad thing to do against Castellanos because he
hanging the sweeper is a bad thing.
Hanging the sweeper is the problem, and that also comes down to the fact that the Phillies were ready. They executed. When we made a mistake, they jumped all over it. Just like we did too. When the Phillies made mistakes, we jumped all over it. I don't think it should be lost that the offense has been fucking awesome. The offense has been incredible. And even the pitching has really relatively been great in this series. It's just you can literally point to 3 pitches in this game. And those 3 pitches are the difference between the Mets winning and the Mets losing this one. And that part sucks because it is that close. But that also just I don't know, sometimes that's going to go your way. How much shit has gone our way recently? That's why it felt more like a coin flip than anything to me. We just lost this one rather than the Mets had this massive collapse. It's over. The Phillies are so back. We gave them all the momentum again. I don't feel that way like other Mets fans at all.
Yeah, I know. I think it's just not the fact you gave them momentum, but you took a series that would have been suddenly 90-10. You put it back to being 50-50.
Yes.
That's the problem. Because and the other big problem, I think we're going to stop talking about all the horrible things now because I don't want to not talk about some of the great moments from this game on Sunday because it was truly another classic baseball game. Mets played 3 of the best baseball games the last 20 years in a span of 7 days. And then also I still want to give credit to Saturday because Saturday was a massive emotional, gritty win that you have those kind of wins on the path to doing special things. What?
I got a question for you today.
Okay,
what would have been more important if we won yesterday's game or winning the first one? Or today's game or the first one? Doesn't matter to you either way.
No, I think it would have been better when this one so you're on a bit of a winning streak, but I would rather take one in the hand versus 2 in the bush. Give me the one in the hand always.
No, I'm glad you said that. I wanted to hear that.
But then the one thing again, after we transition out of this, start talking about the happier things, the cool things going on. Actually, we've been just talking for a while. We have to do an ad right now.
Oh yeah, let's do an ad.
I love a great deal, but I'm not going to run sprints in the outfield just to save a few bucks. It has to be easy. No hoops, no BS. With Mint Mobile, it really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan. Purchase and activation is super easy too.
To get started, go to mintmobile.com/territory. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number.
To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/territory. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/territory.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on their first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Okay, Bax, the one thing to take that I think should give us tons of concern about what happened on Sunday. While the Mets lost, blew momentum, blah, 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 all this, some Carlos Mendoza stuff, 50-50 decisions. Edwin Diaz looked horrible again.
Bad.
He looked really bad. We say a lot, when Edwin Diaz is missing to that arm side, he has nothing because the slider keeps backing up on him. The fastball bleeds to the heart of the plate against the lefties. It was that inning that he pitched was miserable and horrendous. It was very bad. I applaud Carlos Mendoza for the process, like we said last time. This was exactly what happened Game 2 against the Brewers, where he's like, I don't care if it's the 8th inning. Edwin Diaz is coming. I don't care if it's the 7th inning. Edwin Diaz is coming in to get out their best hitters. And he struck out Kyle Schwarber on a pretty generous check swing call, but also a good battle and a good at bat. And then he comes in the inning after he strikes out Trey Turner and honestly looked sick doing it. But then again, Harper comes up. And this is where I have an issue with the process of being like, I'm saving my best pitcher to get their best hitter out. But then Bryce Harper comes up, 1 out, nobody on in a 1-run game, and you fully pitch around him.
Yeah, I didn't love that. Did not
and
love
I thought
putting
for a
the
second,
tying run on base.
If you were going to pitch around Bryce Harper, let someone else pitch. I get, you know what I mean? Like that's like Edwin Diaz is here to pitch to Bryce Harper. That was my issue. And then the fact that it was crazy. I think Adam Wainwright said this crazy. Would you rather about like, would you think it would be better for the Mets if Harper just hit the solo home run instead of walking and starting the rally? And my friend and I looked at each other. We were like, definitely not. And then they also kept talking about like, wow, I can't believe Mets using Edwin Diaz for a 7-out save. Like they're definitely not doing that either. These are just the best 3 hitters. Like my closer has to pitch a 9th. No, it's not. And again, this was a good decision by
I agree.
Mendoza. It was good process. Edwin Diaz just has to be better. Yeah. He has to cash that in. And credit for McGill for coming in and calming down the inning because that kind of could have got out of hand quickly. It was good to keep it to 1 more run with a man on 3rd and 1 out. And even that run could have been cut down. But Vientos made that misplay. It doesn't matter though because he's the best hitting third baseman left in the field right now in the National League. But the concern to take from this game, not losing and going and the series wound up being split, that's a success in terms of where we could have been. Edwin Diaz looked really bad. I don't know what he's going to do next time out.
Now, I'll tell you this because I did some research afterwards. 1, Edwin Diaz, horrendous in Philadelphia. Has like a 9 ERA for his career in Philly. Not great. 2, he doesn't really ever pitch well on the road. If you look at all his really big blown saves, Arizona, Miami, Philly, it's on.
Can I say one? I was at the game in May. He blew the home run to Bryson Stott.
Yes.
I was there. So he definitely blew that one at home. But
even he obviously blows games at home too. But like, I think there is something to Edwin Diaz on the road is a little bit different than he is at home. We weirdly know how much the trumpets really get him in the zone. Like he lives for that shit. There's no doubt. And this truly probably the first real actual big playoff game he's ever pitched in. And that sucks that he shit the bed. Yes. Yeah.
He pitched quite well to calm the game down on Saturday. Do not forget that. He got big outs in the game on Saturday. And then he pitched well in the Brewers series. It's like I'm not chastising Edwin for falling apart here, but I'm just saying like this was a game where if your closer who you pay as the highest paid closer in the league is the best closer in the league, you win the game.
No,
that's the difference.
I'm with you. I hated the pitching around Bryce Harper.
Not Saturday. That was the game. It's all jumbled together. That was Thursday night against the Brewers. Thursday. It was the Brewers game, Game 3. That's when he got that. But it's all blended together.
No,
here
but
in Ohio,
I
of all places.
Definitely hated the walking of Bryce Harper, putting the tying run on the plate for Nick Castellanos. I did not like that at all. I like you're right. If you bring him in to face the best guys, let him face the guys. If Bryce Harper hits the solo home run there, again, tip the cap. The dude's a fucking stud. Whatever. Come get Castellanos. Get out of it. You kind of allow things to snowball. And Edwin can't hold anybody on. I know Harper didn't steal, but allowing a guy to get any sort of extra jump is devastating with Edwin Diaz on the mound.
the guys were also talking about that in the booth where they were saying, like, you probably should still pitch around Harper, but that was in the McGill at bat, which is like, no, you can't put the winning run on second base.
No.
You can never do that. Anything has to
Never.
happen. There's a better chance that Bryce Harper doesn't hit a home run than Castellanos hitting a single. Like,
Yeah,
that's
of course.
the game here.
He, at the best, he still gets a hit 3 out of 10 times when he puts the ball in play.
Fewer than that.
Yeah.
But again, like that's, I don't know, it's just these little micro things. If anything to be pulled from this game, it was some concern with Edwin Diaz. Not exactly anything wrong with the process. I think basically the process was, again, very good overall. It's just you got beat by a team that played a little bit better than you on that day.
Yes. Now, great things in this game. Mark Vientos at the
Insane.
plate is out of control. He's unbelievable. Again, where would we be without Mark Vientos? I don't know. The 2 home runs were incredible. I can't believe that last one got out in the 9th inning. I can't believe it stretched and really needed that because he made a costly error in the bottom of the 8th that ended up giving up another run. Huge home run from Mark Vientos. Dude literally never says die. Amazing. Awesome stuff. Pete Alonso with a home run. Amazing. Awesome stuff. The lineup looked pretty cohesive like in this game as well. The
Nimmo home run was insane. That was a moment where I was like, oh, we actually are fucking back. For him to jump back the inning after we just blew the game against them, that was awesome. Also, gotta credit Severino. Severino was fucking great.
He was great until he wasn't.
It was. That shit against Harper was bad, and he lost control against Castellanos. But like overall, this was a really good game for Severino.
He was disgusting.
Yeah, and like at the top of our order, Lindor had 2 hits. The Lindor at bat to get on base before the Vientos home run tonight.
I knew it was
insane.
I knew something was happening when he got on base like that.
That's it. He starts every good thing. I think this week from either from Foolish Baseball or not the Bobby Orr from Baseball Perspectives, but every good thing that happens to the Mets starts from Francisco Lindor. Him getting on base, setting up that tying home run because solo home run doesn't mean shit there. But him having an at bat where he started down 0-2 and fought off a hit, he went 2 for 5. Vientos went 3 for 4 with a walk and 2 fucking homers. Nimmo 2 for 5, including that big homer. Pete solo home run and a walk. Like everyone, that top of the order was cruising. Their at bats were incredible the whole night. So that's, again, these are just things to hang your hat on. It was a good game, but just couldn't fucking finish it.
I saw some people talking about not pinch hitting Jesse Winker against Estevez when JD Martinez came to the plate against him to lead off the inning. What was your thoughts on it? Because personally, I thought that was a completely fine call. We have Harrison Bader up, who would have came up with guys in running score position again, and Harrison's a great fielder. I don't think he starts another game in this series. I think that was Mendoza trying to play the hot hand with getting a hit and causes some chaos on Saturday night. But his at-bats were pretty atrocious at times in this game. He doesn't really have competitive at-bats, and it seems like the Phillies know, hey, high in the zone, he will swing at anything. And I think that's what you were saving Winker for, was to pinch hit him there with the possibility of guys on base.
I think you nailed it. I just don't think that he was going to really jump to make that change. He took out and he brought in Taylor when he did, so he only had one more piece to move. And I don't think he was really excited about bringing in Winker to hit when he knew he had to play the field after.
Yes.
So I think I'm okay with that one. But again, I also don't want this whole thing to go by and not talk about the game on Saturday.
True.
The game on Saturday
briefly,
was sublime. It was insane. Like, we can't do this episode and not talk about an amazing game. And the Mets took a 1-0 lead and just fought hard. The Kodai Senga announcement, Kyle Schwarber piecing up a home run on a fastball right down the middle. Yeah, it was murdered. But then settling in, Senga actually did, I think, look good. I think there's another conversation out here to be had about Senga, because if his caps are going to be this kind of 30, 40 pitches thing, what are the best 30, 40 pitches he can pitch in a game? Is that the first 2 innings when he can face the top 6 of the order one time? Do we need Kodai Senga to become like the bullpen ace? Do we need him to be a la like Patrick Corbin?
Nathan Eovaldi.
Who's going to be the guy that fits into a role? Because David Peterson, again, looked quite good, piggybacking Senga. Definitely wasn't getting the swing and miss stuff. Definitely was not. It didn't have the best command he's had for a while, but he had made the big pitches. He had to pitch them. Reed Garrett, again, looked incredible, better than he's looked in a month. Phil Mates on another pretty good inning too. Gave up some traffic, but we were feeling pretty good by then. So it's just, there's going to be a lot of manipulation with Carlos Mendoza, I think, these next couple of days, how he's going to use these guys. I think he's kept his options very open for these 2 games to Citi Field. You need Sean Manaea to give you at least 6 strong on Tuesday, but now it's going to be very much about pushing the right buttons, because it's hard to see where the big outs are coming from this bullpen.
It is pretty funny how you go back to every run that the Phillies have scored this weekend, and it's basically just one bad, it's bad pitch. They aren't hitting the good pitches that we're making, which is great. I love to see that, because that's also super frustrating when you throw a good pitch and they end up hitting it. But Senga made the one bad pitch to Schwarber. The rest of the game for him was phenomenal. You said David Peterson, of course, made some big pitches. The bullpen was great. The bats were also great too. Love to see that. I mean, I think we knew that this team on the pitching side from day one was always going to be a little bit of chaos. And maybe we got lulled into a little bit more, comfort than we probably should have been going into this series, because our pitching had been so fucking good. So good for the last month. Absolutely dominant. forgetting that also, we don't have the greatest of arms. We don't have the most depth. I will give the Phillies credit on this, even though we're smacking around their bullpen, which is amazing.
I know.
But their bullpen's got arms. Everybody's coming out of there throwing 98, 99 miles an hour with a nasty slider besides Mets'd, who threw 17 strikes the other day. So it's like there's things that this team for sure lacks, but at the same time, the way that the bats are playing gives me so much confidence. The at-bats are really good. I know we swung and missed 30 times against Zach Wheeler, but you know what I loved about that? They fucking were swinging. This is a team that I've called out in the past for being way too patient, trying to knock pitchers out of the game by taking pitches. Instead, they set a new record for Zach Wheeler in the postseason for swing and misses, and I think for his entire career, but it didn't fucking matter. They went up swinging. They felt confident. As soon as they came out of the game, they were still ready to hit. And I liked that approach a lot more than the fucking take one, take two, chase a pitch type thing.
Zach Wheeler threw one of the best games I've ever seen pitched on Saturday afternoon.
And no one's going to remember. Who cares?
I watched him. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is so locked in and stupid right now. But then that's why everything you just said underscores why the eighth inning was so cool, where Jeff Hoffman, who's truthfully probably one of the nastiest relievers in all of baseball, something I've been talking about all year, which is amazing that he started the path to blowing this game. Alvarez gets a single at the 9 spot, which I love when we do this. When we organize lines so Alvarez can hit 9, because him hitting 9 it's fucking disgusting. And he was able to go with a nice little slider from Hoffman, which is a nasty pitch. Lindor drawing a tough walk. Vientos finding a hole. And then Strom comes in for the lefty, and Nimmo immediately cracks a hit for first, second pitch of the at-bat or something like that. Pete hit a sac fly all the way to the wall. And then once you even get through this with 2 outs, you're able to tack on more. And that's where the Mets team lost this game on Sunday.
Yes.
They weren't able to get that tack on moment. They were like the at-bat you talked about from Bader before. That was actually before Tyrone Taylor came in the game, though. So maybe he could have.
I was saying
the 5th inning when he was first and second.
Yeah, that's not the one I was talking about. I don't think people were talking about pinching for that. It was when JD came to the plate against Carlos Estevez late in the game, and people were saying that they thought Winker should have been there, DH, switch him, and I was like, I think they're saving him for if Bader comes up with guys
men on base.
Men on base, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that take again. But it was also these quick hooks on that 8th inning because it was single, 3 batters out. But that's what was also a difference here, because those 3 batters and out made all 3 of those guys, Hoffman, Strom, and Kirkering, now available for the game on Sunday, where we had to stretch Reed Garrett for the 2, and then Stanek ran into some trouble. So it seemed like those guys might not have been available, which is why we had to stretch in the way we did. It's so many little pieces back and forth. That's what makes playoff baseball the greatest spectacle in sports. And watching these 2 games back to back, the fact that these 2 games are played 24 hours apart doesn't feel like real life.
I'm exhausted.
There was a year in between them. I skipped the Ohio State football game I flew here for to watch this game in a dirty dive bar that was empty. We were so obnoxious walking to that bar for those first few innings of this game. Me and my buddy Ryan and a couple other friends we were with. Shout out Ryan, Reed, Molly. Wonderful. Let me stay here the best. But we were so obnoxious and so New York that we got people. We drove out half the crowd of the bar.
Nice. That's good. That's good.
People were people trying to watch the Ohio State game. So I'm walking into the crowd of the bars and be like, you turn on FS1.
What was
Mets,
the score of that
Phillies.
Ohio State game? What were they up? 39?
It was 7-0 at half. I think they wound up winning 35-7. So thank God. But walking in there and watching the first quarter of that, and seeing the Schwarber home run, watching Ohio State stumble around for a half, that would have been my personal help. It was, again, tip the cap. Happy I made that choice. I might just have to come back for Michigan week now. But it was crazy watching those games and watching them do that. We were watching the game. We were so locked in. We got one TV on a sports bar to the Mets, and we were freaking out. And some guy walks up to us after the Strom pitching change when he was coming in. And he was like, hey, guys, the game's on here, and it's 30 seconds ahead. We were like, what? He let us watch the game for an hour. He's like, I couldn't. You guys are so locked in. I didn't want to bust up your momentum and your rhythm. And I see that right now they've finally taken the lead. But just to let you know, it's on right there. I was like, oh, cool.
So funny.
Yeah.
Holy
Thanks,
shit.
David.
Yeah. For context, for me, where I was watching the game, I was going to a 70th birthday party for my cousin's wife's dad. So I was going in upstate New York, but really just New York State, an hour and a half away from, New Jersey where we live. But I was in the car. I attached the phone to my dad's car while he was driving, had the audio going. I was watching. So my dad had really no clue what was happening. All he was hearing was just swing and miss, strikeout, big out here and there. And then as soon as we crossed into New York State, that's when the Mets started scoring some big runs. So I'm starting to feel like maybe me being in New Jersey today, I got to be in New York for these games one way or another.
I mean, the only thing is that these games are special. That 8th inning was one of the best, most fun innings of baseball I've ever watched. I couldn't even see straight at the end of that. I was jumping up and down, screaming, running up people at the bar. I was like a rabid small dog. I was like when a Yorkie has too much energy.
Shout out to Mark, another Mark who was at the party. Never met him before. When we pulled up to the restaurant, we get out of the car. We're screaming, obviously pumped. There's a car next to us that just pulled up. The windows are down, and I hear Howie on the radio. So I just yell, "Let's go Mets!" And he gets out of the car. He's like, "Oh yeah, nice." Meet him in the bar. He's like, Your giraffe neck Mark, right? I was like, yeah. He's like, nice to meet you, man. Just saw you guys got picked up by foul territory. That's awesome. I can't leave the bar. I got to watch this game. And then he was a part of the party, and it was a good time. Shout out to him, though. Shout out to the other Mark, even though it's spelled with a K. All right. Not great that we lost on Sunday. Not great.
Definitely bad.
But the Mets still have an opportunity to end the series in Citi Field. 2 games, Tuesday and Wednesday. Before we talk about that, I do want to just, I got a little beef with the New York Mets. The ticket prices are out of control. On SeatGeek, normally they're out of control, right? Understandable. Playoff game, they're going to be expensively high. But what I don't love is that the face value for the last row in Citi Field in left field is like $220. There's absolutely no room for the people who buy season tickets, who have the ticket plans. The reason you do this is to get the playoff tickets so that you can maybe even make some money if you don't want to go and sell it to other people. There's no room for money to be made. And $220 for those tickets is asinine. That's terrible. Terrible look.
And it's very frustrating that this year the Mets cut down the amount of playoff tickets you could get with your seats, depending on your season ticket package. Like my dad's bought the 20-game pack,
and they raised
forever.
Prices on the season ticket plan anyway.
The plan went up. My dad had the 20-game package. We're only allowed to buy one of these 2 games face value based on our package. Which is very, very frustrating because I can't spend the money to go into these games. I don't have the face value tickets for it. Even the face value tickets are a pain in the ass. Those are expensive ass tickets. So very frustrating, especially the fact these games are going to be played at 5 o'clock. The Mets are going to have empty seats. Probably going to have empty seats in playoff games. It's going to be kind of embarrassing nationally.
Which sucks too for us and people of New York is we could hang out at the stadium before and do what we did in Arizona, which is like wait until like 5 minutes before first pitch, sneak a cheap ticket. No one's gonna be able to because they're like, I'm $200 in the hole. I have to go. There's nobody being like, I'll put them up for $100 for standing room is $300 right now. That's disgusting.
And these are Tuesday and Wednesday at 5 p.m.
Like who can legitimately go to these games besides us?
if you like, again, we said this last like for the Braves game. I'm really sorry that people with the real 9-to-5 jobs. Yeah. If you have to commute home for an hour after your work and you get out at 4:43, you're going to miss first 3 innings this game. That stinks. So again, sucks that because the Dodgers are the home team in the other series. We have to play all these games early because these being night games would be pretty fucking special. Hats off to the NL Central for not being able to advance to the playoffs ever. Yeah. While the AL Central, every team advances to give the Yankees let the Yankees win the Little League World Series on that side. But it's painful, these games. And also like the fact that the game on Friday, if it happens, is still scheduled for 4:08
is insane.
I can't even imagine if a winner-take-all game on a Friday. Also, again, this is the end of bashing on Major League Baseball, the Mets, the organization, all that shit. The fact that this Friday there was not one baseball game played,
insane.
And then Rob Manfred waited for the football schedule to begin to start this big round of the playoffs. The whole thing is just unbelievable. Everything that happens, it's like it's a purposeful event to try and grow the game as little as possible. Frustrated by that. Talk about the actual game on the field. I was getting between the lines. The Phillies did the crazy thing with their rotation where they pushed Christopher Sanchez ahead of Aaron Nola. Sanchez is a much better pitcher at home than on the road. Citi Field is going to be a hostile environment. Aaron Nola has done that before, not specifically in Citi Field in the playoffs, but he's had some great games against the Mets, also not great games against the Mets. These battle tests, he's been around the block. And I think it was an interesting move, a risky one, but it wound up paying off. They were able to push their veteran back to pitch the game that is much more hostile.
Yeah, I think it was the right decision.
I think it was too. I think it was really good.
Yeah, and especially with Sanchez's splits being so much better at home too. And I mean, relatively, he pitched a pretty fine game as well today.
It's good pitching. It's a really good pitching.
Like, even though the Mets had the lead, came back, all that narrative stuff and what happened, it was the right decision. It paid off for the Phillies. Aaron Nola in Game 3. We're getting an ace. We're getting an ace. But guess what? We have our ace too. Little Sean Manaea on the mound going up against Aaron Nola, a real ace off. Haven't been able to say that in a really long time. A real ace off. But I mean, listen, the way that the Mets have been hitting, I fully expect that the game plan is going to be jump on Nola early, try to be aggressive with him. Though I feel like in the past, and maybe again, this is just me remembering history wrong. I feel like in the past when the Mets have been on Nola, it's been because they've been aggressive and been attacking him early. He doesn't walk anybody, so. No,
he does. You just have to make sure you hit those pitches and you keep yourself in good counts. You don't have to go and flail at the knuckle curve. And also, it's going to be a big deal for Manaea. Manaea's pitched pretty well against the Phillies this year. Also has some not good games against the Phillies this year, but that was before he went through the great awakening, the large change. But he wasn't tremendous in that last game against Milwaukee. And that was hard because he had to pitch against the Brewers twice in back-to-back starts, but he wasn't getting the swings and misses, the two-seamer up the zone. His command was pretty good, but still wasn't getting like the shock value on it. I'm very interested to see how he comes out. I'm kind of excited because we're going to have a lefty to be able to face Harper and Schwarber, but the rest of that lineup, Bohm, Castellanos, and Turner can murder lefties if you give them a chance. So it's about I'm just very concerned about him executing because I don't know where this bullpen's at, and You still have to win 2 more games to win this series.
Yeah, the one huge difference too between these lineups, I mean, obviously the Phillies have a much better lineup. There's no doubt in that. But the one thing that they do that the Brewers refuse to ever do, the Phillies chase. The Phillies will go out of the zone. Outside of, like, they will chase pitches. Kyle Schwarber strikes out a bunch. I know he cut it down this year, but he still strikes out. Bryce Harper against lefties strikes out. He's amazing, but he is more human against lefties than he is against righties. There is a path where Sean Manaea is weirdly more effective against the Brewers or against the Phillies than the Brewers. I'm not going to pretend like I'm going to be betting the house on him to be doing this because that lineup is disgusting and it's so deep when they really are getting going. But at the same time, Manaea has been so good. You want someone in a big game. He's been our best pitcher all year long. Again, if you don't have faith in him now, when did you ever have faith in this guy? He's been incredible.
Yeah, and something I like about Manaea is like just game plan related shit for this team. Like again, like the chasing is good. I want to see how much he uses that sweeper backdoor against guys like Turner and Castellanos. See how much he uses the changeup, if at all. And I like the fact that he's not afraid to go and challenge those lefties with a high fastball because he needs to trust that pitch. He needs to go with that pitch. The Mets a lot of times pressure moments on Sunday went towards the breaking stuff, and I think that there's a lot of value, especially in the playoffs, to throwing what the kids call a "fuck you" fastball.
Yes,
and I think the Mets threw a few more of those on Sunday. It might have been a better shot, might not have been a better shot, but this team still fucking believes so hard. I still believe. I'm ready to rumble. It's just I want to get to I want to be inside Citi Field and I want to be rabid.
Yeah, I definitely want to be at this game. I'm gonna make it difficult, that is for sure. The prices as of right now, when I'm looking at it on my phone, for a walk-in standing room only ticket is $322. I mean, listen, you'd have to be an idiot to not just pay the extra $8 to sit, right? Like at that point, just spend the $330 to sit down in the seat rather than stand.
I don't know. I can't. I don't think we should even think about this until Tuesday at noon.
Okay, is that what we're deciding as the Mets'd podcast? We're not. Even
I think as a line, we're not going to look at the price until Tuesday at noon, and then we'll make that decision by Tuesday at 1:30. I'm
also going to say this too: if you're looking to sell tickets and you don't want any fees and you want to just get the money all yourself, hit me and James up. Happy to buy them direct from the consumer rather than going through any sort of ticketing app whatsoever.
Of course, you don't have any ticketing app that sponsors you.
The Mets'd Up podcast is not sponsored by any ticketing service whatsoever.
That's big. We should get one of those sponsors. But again. Just let us know. Just let us know if you got anything.
Yeah, if you got anything, let us know. We would be happy to pay an appropriate price for them. That is for sure. Anything else to talk about here? We got Frankie Peppers, I'm assuming, right?
Oh, yeah, we definitely do. I got to check the phone. Again, guys, got to keep the vibes high, guys. Too many Mets are quitting right now. I think if you're quitting right now, I don't think you've watched this team play one game all year. I'm in a group chat with a really curmudgeon-y cousin who doesn't watch the Mets, but he just pretends to be the doom and gloom Mets fan.
Sure.
He just watches box scores.
He's cosplaying, yeah.
Yeah, no, of course. So after the whole Philly rally, he was like, "Over, can't believe they blew it, season over." And I literally texted him back. I texted him back, "Fuck you! If you're thinking like that right now, that means you haven't watched this team play." And then after he answered tomorrow, I texted him again, "Fuck you!" I was like, "I'm not. There's no room in your life for the negativity right now. If any Mets fans giving you comments and shit like that, you gotta politely tell them to fuck off
and let the Philly fans talk all the shit that they want. Let them talk all the shit that they want." They're
the
supposed to win
same
this
ones.
year.
They were the same ones that quit yesterday. It's all the same shit. It's all the same kinds of fans on both sides. Like that's the whole thing. It is, and that's the way it is. But we got Frankie. No, Frankie. Series isn't over.
Series isn't over. I respect Frankie. I wasn't sure. I know he was correcting people. People were like, "Where was the episode?" Frankie's like, "They said they were going to do it after the weekend. The boys had were a little bit busy." Which shout out Frankie Peppers. He's always on top of it.
We're gonna do an episode Sunday morning. No one's listening to that.
No, of course not. That would be crazy.
Monday, all you guys are here ready to hang out with us. We got to go back to real life now for at least 24 hours before war begins again.
As well, episodes after the games at Citi will super depend on what happens in the game.
I don't know. I think I'm pretty locked in for these. I'm truthfully.
No, I'm saying like I think if we lose,
we're doing them though.
Yeah, we're doing episodes, but are we locking in for every game? Oh, maybe we'll do a little train. Maybe we could do a little train for these games.
I get a little worried about bringing the train. Is it like because we can't do the train after a loss? I don't think
that's true.
But I also game 3. I don't feel good doing a train after only the second win either. I have a little bit of a thing in my head right now about
maybe after Citi.
Maybe.
We'll see.
We'll brainstorm. Any ideas we have, we guys check out their Instagram, check out our Twitter at Mets'd, and we'll tell you our ideas.
Yeah, and all the other social media too at Mets'd. You know where to find us on YouTube at the Mets'd podcast. You can go subscribe over there and watch us. And if you're listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download and subscribe. You can follow James on Twitter at
James_Shiano.
I'm Giraffe Nick Mark with a C. You gotta believe. Let's fucking go Mets. This series is not done. It was never done. It was never over. It was always going to be a war. Let's win that war. Let's fucking go Mets.
Let's fucking go Mets. We just, oh God, get ready. 5:08 on Tuesday. Get ready. Get fucking ready for this game.